Hello, I'm Martha with Cooking Live at the Beavers Den, and this is part 3. I am making homemade salsa, and it takes about 18 medium tomatoes. The first step, if you'll tune in to part 1, there is a part 1, and then there is a part 2. This is part 3. I have all my tomatoes in here, and I am just mashing down and separating the whole ones, the little small ones, and they have to come to a boil, and we'll let them boil for about 15 minutes. And they have to cook through and through before we add. This packet only, you just read the back of the directions of the packet, and it'll give you the directions on the back. So it just takes vinegar, and then you have some homemade salsa, but you have to process them for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes in a water bath, processing them. It's kind of like tomato juice, stewed tomatoes. You have to always process those. And this took 18 tomatoes, some of the ones that didn't get to watch the other videos, but they should all be together. This is part 3. So I'm putting it on simmer right now, and I have my jars, lids, and rings all getting sterile in this big pot, because you want to put it in the sterile jars, and then you process it for about 40 minutes, 45. And do not ever put your tomatoes, because of the acid they have in them, do not ever use nothing but stainless steel. And you can't use aluminum. You just have to use stainless steel. And then you can have you some good old salsa. I know I fixed on my recipe for my stewed tomatoes, I have thrown in some basil. And you know, tomatoes and basil, they complement each other. So it's just a good fix. And this salsa is, you can make it as hot as you want it. I've got the mild, but I'm going to add maybe some of my seasoning, which is the hot pepper flakes. And I might just even cut up some little green peppers that we got out of the garden this week. And it don't get no better than that. Just good old canning, and you know, if you don't put it up, you're not going to have it. And I would much rather have something that I fix, and the Lord always said He'd bless the work of your hands, didn't He? So these tomatoes are beautiful. I got them I think I got them at Kroger yesterday. And they were just absolutely juicy. And that's what you want, is good old juicy tomatoes. And the first step, I parboiled them, and that helps take the skin off. And this is getting to be just about right, because when it gets to boiling really a rapid boil, then you put your seasoning in it. And you can't beat this. I mean, I might add just a little bit of what I've got. Since this is mild, we like hot stuff. And you know, peppers are really good for you anyway. They eat the plaque out of your arteries. So, we just love a good taste of peppers. See, this is really looking good now. I'll get this little chopper right here, it chops up just really good. Kind of like a chunky salsa. That would be what you'd call a chunky salsa. And you always core your tomatoes, just like you're fixing stewed tomatoes. And oh, they smell so good and fresh. You just can't beat it. I'm gonna see, these are a little bit more chunky right through here. It's fixing to come up to a boil. But it just, when you parboil them, it just helps you to get that skin off, and it just peels right off. You core them, then you put them in your pot like this and bring them to a boil. And I'm about ready to get my scissors and cut this little packet up. And we're going to let it cook for about 30 minutes after we add the seasoning to it. And it also said that if you didn't find like 16 to 18 good sized medium tomatoes, that you could even put the canned ones in. You know how the whole tomatoes come in a can? Well, just take those and put the sauce in. I mean, you know, the juice in there with it. Don't drain it, because that juice will help preserve what those tomatoes came in, and it'll give you a little bit extra too, so it'll just make it that much better. But we're getting there right now. It's fixing to come up to a big rolling boil. I have fixed some corn, fried corn this week. I put up a lot of stuff. We went to Georgia this week and got us some good old Georgia peaches. You can't beat that. And I just got through fixing some peach freezer jam. Now that is some good eating, especially on buttered biscuits. Don't come no better than that. Some people put cooked tomatoes on their biscuits. Now, I can make a meal out of that. I know some people think that's way far-fetched out there, but believe me, it's not. It's just good Southern cooking. But I'm just about winding down. You know, summer is just almost, even though it is, the temperature is still hot here in Nashville. It's steamy, in other words. But it's a good time of putting up stuff. Go to your farmer's market, local farmer's market, and support them. Buy from them, and they'll ever be so grateful that you did to help them out. Now it's starting to have that little bubble in the middle. It's looking good. And my jars are getting there. Because you always want to put in hot jars, lids, and rings. But when you put your any kind of whatever you're canning into hot jars, you want to make sure that you wipe down that top, because sometimes if you add a teaspoon of salt, like tomato juice or stewed tomatoes, some people put sugar, a tablespoon of sugar. Some of my old kinfolk, they used to put a tablespoon of sugar. Well, there could be 1 grain of sugar, salt, or something on that rim right around here. That's why you always want to take out that jar and just wipe it down before you put that flat lid on, and then put your lid on. And don't always, never tighten it, just real tight, because when you put it in the water bath, you want it kind of snug enough that it's not gonna come out. But that way, when you take them out after about 45 minutes out of the water bath, you put them aside, and that way, oh, it's getting there now. I mean, really coming to a boil. In about 3 more minutes, I'm going to add that packet. But just, then it'll pop, pop, pop. That way you'll know that that is the best sounding sound, is the pop, pop, pop. And you know for a fact it has sealed. So, this is looking really good. This is the last stage before I put them in the water bath, and then I'll take them out, and then we'll end up maybe with 4 pints of salsa. Good old salsa. I thought about putting some basil in it, but I don't think I will, and I don't think I'll put any cilantro, because I read some of the ingredients in here, and I think it has a lot of different spices, and I don't want to add to. Now, my homemade different kinds of things, that's when I add my spices. Okay, we're getting there right now. So it's been about 10 minutes. And when this comes to a boil and to cooking real good, I'll put it on medium. After it comes to a rapid boil, I'll turn it down to medium, and I will get back with you for the next segment. Be sure and tune in, cooking live at the Beavers Den. Gonna finish that salsa up.